What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Zed. I'm back at it again with another video, and excuse my face. I have been up for about, I want to say 15 to 16 hours now, simply studying and preparing for the TEAS exam, and simply just studying for my other classes as well. I've been really busy these past couple of weeks, but I have been cranking out content still. So if you are interested in CNA and nursing content, make sure to subscribe below. I very rarely pub, especially in the beginning of the video. So make sure you subscribe right now before we even get into it, because I have a lot to say. And this video is simply going to be, as you can see from the description below, the different specialties that you can have while being a CNA. And I know some of you are asking or just thinking, dang, you know, being a CNA, I have never heard of anyone having a specialty, but it doesn't only come with nursing. It's more respected with nursing, but I simply think that you having the experience of being under a specialty is considered a specialty of being a CNA, because you can go to different hospitals, you can go to different facilities and say, hey, I'm skilled with this patient demographic. I have this amount of skills. I've dealt with patients that have seen this, and that. And yeah, you can definitely have a specialty as a CNA. But in part, I want to also say there are a lot of CNAs out here that don't have a specialty simply because they work at a nursing home. A nursing home is not going to give you the variety or a patient demographic that you're going to see at the hospital level. The hospital level, which I've been promoting and kind of reiterating over and over again in different videos, that the hospital setting is going to give you the variety of patients that you want to see. The hospital has a plethora of different specialties that nurses have, a plethora of different units, which can cause you to become specialized in that type of patient demographic. And I think this is going to benefit people the most. For my CNAs out there that's going for more, for my CNAs that want to be nurses, for my CNAs that want to be physical therapists, for my CNAs that even want to go to medical school, you have a type of patient that you're dealing with and you're caring for every day, every time you go to work. And that can overall become your specialty. So I'm going to run over a couple of specialties, and I'm going to start with my own specialty. So neurology, which is the brain. I work in a step down unit for the ICU, which is considered your neuroprogressive unit. These are patients that have suffered from strokes. These are patients that have suffered from aneurysms, patients that have fallen due to, like, I don't know, but older age and dementia. And I've even seen patients that have are recovering from a craniotomy or even spinal surgeries. These are patients that I'm seeing. These are patients that I'm caring for every time I go into work, and it's always a variety. Sometimes they could be coming off or having withdrawal from drugs, which can become an overflow unit. So a hospital is going to give you the variety that you're looking for. You're not always going to, due to your unit, you're not always going to have to deal with that type of patient demographic. Sometimes they just send them to an empty bed that's on your hall, and you have to care for that patient and you're seeing them, which I see quite often, because most of the time I am dealing with patients that have suffered from a stroke, different types of stroke, have suffered from aneurysms, are recovering from a spinal surgery. These are patients that I'm seeing on the daily basis, but you might end up seeing a patient that's dealing with withdrawal. There was an open bed, you know what I mean? We're not necessarily a COVID unit. I don't think, I think the floor underneath my floor at the hospital I work at is considered a COVID unit, but even that unit is still not a COVID hall. It's like, I think it's like cardiac or something like that. It might be a cardiac unit. I'm not really sure, but it might be a cardiac unit. You have these specialties that you're working in as a CNA. And when you become a nurse, or if you're going to school for nursing, you could say, hey, I've dealt with this patient demographic for years. I've dealt with this patient demographic and another patient demographic while working as a nursing assistant for a very, very, very long time, which might make you more knowledgeable when you do clinicals for that unit. when you enter nursing school, and even after, you can say, hey, I was a CNA on a neuroprogressive unit. I have done clinicals in neuroprogressive. I'm familiar with this patient demographic. Hire me to be a nurse at your hospital. That's men and women. Hire me to be a nurse at your hospital because I know this patient demographic and I know how to care for this patient demographic. That was a lot of talking just now. I know that was a lot of talking just now, but I'm going to get into some of the specialties, and I'm not going to do all of the specialties that I've ever seen, but I'm going to do some of my favorite specialties and some that intrigue me the most and some that I feel like you should know for whether you're a CNA or whether you're going into nursing school or anything like that. Emergency is so interesting to me as a unit. This is where you're going to have the most, I guess, variety patient demographic, but it's usually your patients that are in need of immediate care, at least to get them stabilized. They could have stabbed themselves. They could have been a gunshot victim. They could have, I don't know, put their hand through glass. These are your patients that need immediate care. Maybe they have a stomach ache. Maybe they have a massive headache that just won't go away. These are your patients that need that immediate care, and you have to kind of get them stabilized to figure out what unit they would go to. Sometimes they might have fallen and they end up in the ED and they get transferred to your unit because, hey, this patient suffered from a stroke. We need you guys to look at what's going on. We got him stable. We got him or her stable. And we need you to look at what's going on. Sometimes they could be having, heart problems. Sometimes they could be feeling it in their heart, and it's up to the ED to kind of read those patterns and say, hey, we need to send this patient to cardiac or a telemetry unit where they have monitors and they have nurses and, they have the skilled nurses and skilled doctors that can help this patient demographic. It's a variety of stuff that can go on in the ED. This is where you're going to see the most, I guess I would say injuries, because it's fast paced. Everybody knows that ED is always fast paced. ED stands for emergency department. Everybody knows that the emergency room is fast paced. It's so much going on. And I think some of the most skilled CNAs and skilled nurses come from these ICU units in the emergency unit as well. So next we're gonna do the neonatal unit. This is a unit that I'm not too familiar with, but I know that there are a lot of nurses and CNAs that want to work around this unit. If you love babies, this is the unit for you. Neonatal unit is, to my knowledge, I'm gonna put more descriptions and kind of like definitions and all that stuff underneath in the description below, so make sure you check that out. But neonatal nurses are nurses that have to deal with premature babies. These are nurses that's born, I would say, before full term. Sometimes they can be sick. Sometimes they could just need monitoring or more time to develop. But these are your nurses and CNAs that's gonna care for premature babies. And you have your neonatal unit. I'm not sure if that's the same thing as NICU, but I'm pretty sure it's very, very similar. It's not like your labor and delivery, which you're just a nurse that's going to help a pregnant, woman have a baby with a doctor. But this is your monitoring and caring for sick babies, basically. Very, very popular unit. A lot of people that I know that have entered nursing school want to work with, the neonatal unit. I know it's very popular. So as a CNA, you can be like, hey, I've worked in this unit. I know how to deal with sick babies. I know how to care for and monitor, and I know what's needed as a CNA because I've seen nurses do it and I've done it as well. Hire me in your neonatal unit. You can go to different hospitals, different facilities that have these units, and you can say, hey, once I graduate and get my RN license, I can go into these units because this is my specialty, which is why I say specialties are available for CNAs. You can say I specialize in this unit, and once you go through clinicals and you get hired, that's something to definitely bring up in your interview with the hospital and say, hey, I've worked with this patient demographic. Hire me today. Next, I'm going to do pediatrics. Pediatrics is simply working with kids. I think the age rank is simply from birth or like a toddler age, maybe up until 21 is considered like your pediatric unit. Don't quote me on that age. I feel like that's close. I know that it's kids. Pediatrics is kids, but you're dealing with kids, and we all know kids go through a lot. They have a lot of stuff going on. They have, they're really easy to injure. They have so much going on. Sometimes they get sick. You don't know what's going on. So you have to take them to the hospital. They're going to end up in your pediatric unit. Being a peds CNA, you'll be able to see different kids that go through different things, that need different care. And this is going to be a variety unit as well, because you're learning how to care for kids that have ear infection. You're learning how to care for kids that broke their arm. You're learning how to care for kids that, have, simple heart issues. They might get sent to a different unit, but you're going to see pediatric, which is kids. And I'm sorry for my shaky camera. I don't have my stand with me right now, but I'm holding it in my hand. So as a nurse and as a CNA, you're going to help nurses care for these patients. Again, I'm going to keep this one short, and I'm probably not going to go over too many more, simply because it falls into various specialties, and I don't want this video to be too long, but every specialty can kind of go hand in hand, simply because as a CNA, you're going to see this variety of patient demographics. You're going to see this variety of care, and you can learn and become specialized as a CNA in these units. And even if you end up leaving and going to another unit, this can also broaden your abilities and broaden your skills when dealing with certain units. Me personally, I'm dealing with patients that deal with strokes and aneurysms and recovering from spinal surgeries and craniotomies and stuff like that. But I would love to also see how the emergency room goes, how the emergency room works. I would love to help, nurses care for patients that have suffered from gruesome injuries, or maybe they, got a major laceration on their arm or chest or stomach or something, anything, right? You know what I mean? I want to see that variety of patient demographic. I want to see how crazy it gets. I want to see a gunshot wound up close and have to care for that patient in that way to make it better. I think the ED is very interesting to me, simply because when you watch these like shows, and I know shows, when you watch these shows like Grey's Anatomy and Chicago Med, stuff like that, it's all happening in the ED. And even though this is not following the life of nurses, it's following the life of physicians and maybe surgeons, I just find it quite interesting that at any moment, anything can happen, and it's going to be absolutely bonkers, absolutely crazy. It's something exhilarating about that. It's something exciting about that. And I cannot wait to see it for myself. So I didn't want to make this video too long. I didn't go too deep into specialties. I went into maybe 3 or 4. So that should be enough. But if you want to see more about a specialty that you are interested in, just Google it and find out what they do, and find out if the hospital you're working at as a CNA, if they have it, and try to get transferred to that unit, because there are so many units that you don't even know, and so many CNAs that have different types of skills. And it's exciting to see that it all comes together after nursing school. It all comes together once you enter your unit, and this is a specialty in itself. So find your specialty. Don't forget to follow. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment on this video. Let me know what specialty you work on. I want to know. Let me know what specialty you work in. Let me know how your experience is going. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, but that's all I got for y'all today. I'm going to try to post more often. Right now, I think I'm posting once a week, and I'm going to try to up that a little bit, because over the summer, I'll have a little more free time. So if you haven't already, go ahead and like, go ahead and comment, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll have another video to you guys soon. Peace.